everybody, welcome back to Big Wolf Gaming, and this is me, your host, Draco the Wolf, and with the recent drop, rather, of the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC for Elden Ring coming up, I thought I'd do a few Elden Ring top 5 videos. This particular one is going to be exploring my favourite boss battle locations. And to be fair, probably my boss battles as well, though some of them may differ, but this one is going to focus specifically on the locations. Now, as you can see at the minute, I'm here at the Tree, but we'll come back to that later, so here we go. So at number 5, we have the Elden Throne. Now, I like this arena because obviously it's at the foot of the Erdtree. This is where all the big stuff happens. Like, you get your battle against Morgott, the Fell King, and also Godfrey, the first Elden Lord, or as me and my friends have affectionately dubbed him, Godfrey, the first baby daddy. But I like this area because of the detail of design. Like, you've got all the stonework here, you've got the little roots from the Erdtree spreading out across the area, the little blossoms and like plants coming up from it. And as you look up, you can see the difference in parts of the Erdtree, like how most of the trunk glows gold. Obviously, at this point in my game, the Erdtree is burning, and but the fact that most of the trunk glows gold, and then you get here and you've got this massive patch of bark and stonewood here, stonework here together. That's just normal bark coloured. And oh, speaking of Morgott, hey buddy, how you doing? And that there is another reason I like this boss arena, because you get to talk to Morgott after you like beat him. I was on my 6th or 7th overall playthrough when I found that out, but no, honestly, I love this boss area just because, like, even when you're in a battle, you've got the view around as well at different sides, like, oh god, I want to say I know what's over there. I can't think now, though. What am I seeing over there? Anyway, never mind, but the fact that you've got the view around, you've got various aspects of the sky, the different parts to the Erdtree, the stonework, I love this area so much. So at number 4, we've got...
Where did he flee, my sweetings? Come
hi.
out from whence ye hide. There are books and
I'm talking
light
here. Hi,
aplenty. Dither not. Come out, say I. Or will ye be gravestones, to be better born anew?
Okay, Renala, I'm happy for you and I'm gonna let you finish, but stop talking to yourself, crazy lady. No, I do feel sorry for Renala, and if you don't know why, go and check out VaatiVidya's lore videos on the history of the Carrion Royal family, and more specifically the Age of Stars mini-movie that he did. But not affiliated, not linked in any way. I just like the guy, he does good lore. But no, the reason I like this boss area so much is the design. It is literally a library, but a library that's obviously not been used as a library in years, by how these books are all stacked up and falling over and falling apart and unkept, and so much of the shelves are empty from the stacks and stacks of books. And the fact that Renala herself is here at the end, like, she's your respec mechanic, but the fact that you don't actually kill her, the fact that she remains and that's what her great rune does, is just an amazing addition to this boss arena after it's like finished being used as that. And obviously you've got a statue of Radagon, who is Marika, who is Radagon, because Radagon was obviously Renala's husband before he became Marika's husband, and they did some sort of anime fusion dance. But also, another reason I like it is because it makes you come back here, like, not just for respec or because you like the view, but because it's also linked to Rani's quest, where you can open this chest and get the Dark Moon Ring. But more than anything, I just love how when you first come in here, and even if you were to say come in here from the entrance now, the fact that it is so poorly lit at the start here makes it kind of creepy. And I like that. The light aesthetics, the light shivers that it gives me. Because, well, I may be a full-grown man, but I'm full-grown man enough to tell you I don't like the dark. So, but no, I love the aesthetic of this place. It really does look still like a library, even though it's been unused for however long it's been, and unkept and unclean. It just, yeah, enough said. Is the fact that the sky changes when you're done, at least in this boss arena, if nowhere else. And the fact that, you know, you've got a view of, there's that, yeah, that's the actual view of Redmane Castle itself, because obviously there's a little beach that you teleport from. For Redmane Castle, there you've got the impassable Great Bridge. And then you got the Erd Tree looming large as life as it does pretty much everywhere. But this battlefield, it's I don't even know where to begin. Like the fact that these, I don't know, I guess you'd call them grave markers for if nothing else, that get more and more clustered as you get closer to the Grace at the end of the boss fight. The fact that it's all just a sandy wasteland, like, it's not even, like, this is where Radahn and Malenia faced off against each other. But Radahn is the only remnant of the rock, like, this sand, this desert-esque setting, it's, you know, I would have expected, I half expected, like, the Scarlet Roy itself to be a scenic hazard, you know, but it's just dead, just barren sand everywhere. And then, obviously, the one thing that puts this one right slap bang in the middle for me at number 3 is, one, you've got the return to entrance here, but no, it's the fact that, and I'm sure everybody's going to get that by now, but just in case you don't know, I'm going to run over there and show you as well. The fact that all the way up to the north here, just over yonder way, past the ruined pillars in the side of the cliff, you have the War Dead Catacombs. And if you go into the War Dead Catacombs, which I am going to, the fact that it's attached to the battleground where Malenia and Radahn and their armies fought, and the lore about this as well, again, VaatiVidya, VAATIVIDYA, all one word, capital V's. Look him up. He's the law, he's the king of law, or one of the kings of law at least, he's my king of law. Yeah, all the way up over here. But the War Dead Catacombs does not just house Radahn's dead. It houses the dead from Malenia's army as well, or at least their spirits, their shades. And this is just going to be a quick glimpse, because obviously I want to get on with the rest of the final 2 in my favourite boss arenas, but I just figured this worth mentioning because this is such a big reason this is one of my favourites. And I should probably mark this grave so I can come back here and explore later, because I've explored it a few times, but there's always new stuff to find I've found. But yeah, if you go down here and actually take a look, you can see Radahn's soldiers fighting Clean Rot Knights. Ooh, okay, I pissed him off. Try that again without pissing anyone off. But yeah, these light shades, they fight each other, and you can see. Let me just like put my big ass hammers away so they don't leave me away. Like, you got Radahn's soldiers, all the shades that were Radahn's soldiers, fighting Clean Rot Knights. Still, you know, Melania has returned to the Hailing Tree. Radahn is so far gone that the rot has literally fused him to his horse, but their armies still fight in death as they did in life. And that's what makes this boss arena so amazing for me, is the fact that even though upon killing Radahn, technically the war is over because one leader has fallen. I know that's not always the way if you look back through history, through real history, but for the sake of fantasy, that's usually the way it goes. If the leader falls, the army surrenders. But these shades, they don't see that. They just see the war never ending. And that's why Radahn's arena is at number 3 for me. So at number 2, you'll see that I am at the foot of the forge. And I start out here instead of at the Fire Giant's Grace because one of the reasons this is at number 2 for me is the fact that you get to it by crossing a massive chain. Like, that's just something that the giants would have lifted something with. To us, that's a bridge. But this and Radahn's Arena share another thing in common with, for me, as to why they're favourites of mine, is that they're boss arenas where during the battle, during the actual boss fight, you can ride your horse around. And still summon your mimic if, like, or whatever summons you prefer to use. I like using the mimic here, don't at me. But no, I love that you can still use your horse in here. Obviously you can't use a summon in the Radahn arena because you're summoning everyone else, but and the fact that it's so spacious and the environment, it reacts to how the giant moves. Like, the giant can knock these trees down, the fire giant can destroy them. Like, absolutely destroy them. And there's nothing can be said about it. And then, once you're done, you've got the ride up to the cauldron itself, the flame of the fire giants. The fire giants, the forge, might even say. Again, I need to go back and double check on the lore to get my correct terminology, but once again, VaatiVidya, go check him out, don't get stuck in a gap, don't get stuck in a hole like me. But no, like, the first time I did this, I looked around and saw, like, that over there, and that over there, and obviously, you can just about barely, like, even with my glasses on, I could barely make out that one, like, singular, static, not moving gold dot in the distance. But when I first came here on my very first playthrough, I thought I was supposed to, like, jump down bit by bit into there and do something. So that was that mistake, but no, you end up riding and running all the way around the edge of the cauldron. And then, obviously you won't get to see it here because I'm past that point in this playthrough, but once you get here, you get, depending on which ending you're going for, you get your cutscene that lights the fire and starts the Erd tree burning. And the lore behind the giants as well is another reason why I love this area so much, this arena so much. But especially the fire giant himself and the fell god, the flame of the fell god. And that big ass looking flaming Sharingan that the like fire giant has in his chest. But no, the arena itself, it's a wasteland, you can tell. It's a snowy wasteland, like the trees have long since died, there's nothing coming back. But the last giant remains here to protect the flame of the forge. Until, you know, you bust his ankle up so bad that he rips his leg off and... yeah. But, no, I love it. It's very... again, it's all about the aesthetic for me. The dead trees, the rocky lips, the fact that the trees will come, like, crashing down if the giant throws, like, himself or, like, a big enough fireball at it or something. And the view as well, like, better again from the cauldron, of course, but the fact that if you like come just up here, just over here where you can like enter the above where the entrance to the arena is, you look and you see where all the giants were impaled, and you look over there and you think, wow, how heartbreaking that must be for the fire giant himself to be trapped here in this area protecting that cauldron when they stood up against Marika, and to see that all of his fellows, his family, his friends, his comrades, his brothers in arms are just frozen and impaled corpses now. I love the aesthetic of that, and I love the lore behind it. And that may sound a little bit dark to some, but I mean, come on, this is from the wonderful and amazing creators of Dark Souls. Dark is to be expected. Now it's time for some honourable mentions. So this obviously is the arena of Godric the Grafted, whose remains are here, unbefouled by that thieving little goit who opens the main gate for you if you ask him to. But no, this one gets a mention to me because of all the graves. Like, Godric surrounds himself with graves, and it makes you think, are these the people that he grafted the extra limbs onto himself from? And the dragon, the impaled dragon right here, small as it may be compared to other dragons, I mean, I don't know, that's probably like a lesser dragon, for want of a better term, to me. Because it's not quite as big as dragons like Agila or Samrag or Exyx or Placidusax. Then again, I suppose nobody's really as big as Placidusax, apart from maybe Grail, but Grail's a different level altogether. But no, like, this is the size of one of Grail's little kid dragons, that if you go the long way around that boss fight, you can, like, beat her by killing all of them. But the fact that he rips its head off and shoves it on his arm, but I won't get too deep into that. That could be saved again for best boss fights. But no, it's the fact that it's the first major boss, or it's not the first major boss you come to, but it's the first shard bearer boss you come to. Like, Margit, he's got a tiny arena, and you've got, even on your first run through, like, Rogier is a good enough NPC summon to help you. You can get through that fairly easily, even if you don't go for a sorcerer starting class, which, just FYI, I did. But this is the entrance to the rest. As far as I'm concerned, this boss arena is the entry point to the rest of the game. So this is why it gets an honourable mention. Next honourable mention goes to the ruin-strewn precipice, the arena of Magma Worm Makar. And I just like the fact that it's the ruins, the moss growing down it, the flooding from the snow that's melting from the top of the cliffs, and the moisture that's getting through the rocks. And the fact that if you get the right angle, you look up and you can see where this used to be an actual building, an area that people would, live in. And even after all this time, this massive pillar in the middle, bits of the bridge that it's holding up may have fallen away. In fact, no, not even bits of the stuff it's holding up. The fact that this whole centrepiece here is still standing when it looks like it's barely been weathered at all. It just makes you ask, like, what kind of people lived here? And again, there may be a lore video on that I've missed from Vaati, or from somebody else even. But this arena just made me ask questions like, who lived here? Why did they live in a mountain? Were they dwarves of some kind? Were they scholars? Were they a reclusive people? But that's why the ruin-strewn precipice and Magma Worm Makar's arena get an honourable mention. And this is our final entry in the honourable mentions, which is Rykard's arena. Now, I'm really not sure what to make of this place. Like, it has aspects of the prison place from Demon Souls with the chains and the cages everywhere, but it's also got chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, like, made of cages. And the pillars are made of, as far as I can tell, people's body is fused and melted together by fire. Like, was this the work of the blasphemous blade? I don't know. But the fact that it is huge, the fact that the weapon, the Serpent Hunter's spear, the Serpent Hunter, the Great Spear, is literally at the start of the boss encounter when you first come in. And the fact that the only place it actually does a full-blown version of its skill is in this boss fight, like the Storm King boss fight in Demon Souls, or the Yorm the Giant boss fight in Dark Souls 3. And then there's this as well. If you go back and talk to Tanith when you're done, for those of you who don't already know, as I say, most of you probably will, and talk to her until her dialogue runs out, and then rest again and come back here. She'll be here eating what's left of Rykard, who, given all these weird blood vessel-y, arm and hand, tendril, hentai-looking things coming out of him, I'm not sure if he's dead or not.
Oh, you... Allow me some time. Our lord's carcass is vast, and not easily consumed. Dear Rykard, please, find purchase within me. I wish to be your serpent, your family. One day, let us devour the gods together.
Lady, you ain't no giant snake, you ain't no god-devouring serpent, and you need help. You need help. Like, I've denied her this several times. I'm not gonna kill her this time, but I've denied her this several times just because it's so messed up and... Even looking at that makes me feel a bit queasy. But no, this area is fairly big for a boss arena. That's the other place it reminds me of. It also reminds me of the old Demon King boss fight from Dark Souls 3 as well. Just because of the pillars going up, the magma-y things. I'm sure they drew a lot of inspiration from past games with every follow-up game they made from Soft. But this one just brings so many different aspects of things together, and it's just, I don't even know where to begin, but I like it, and that's why this is the final in the honourable mentions. So finally, we are back where we started, here at the Haylid Tree, and it's time for my personal #1 favourite boss arena of all time, and that is Malenia, Blade of Nicola. A line that everybody has nightmares about, I'm sure. But this is why, like, look at all of this. Like, you can't see this, but I am waving my hands around like I'm going to try and do some of the most complex ninjutsu you've ever seen. Look at all of this. And especially with Shadow of the Erdtree coming up, looking at that and seeing that's where Mikola was ripped from. And I know the Mogwin Palace may have belonged in here at some point, but not for me. And there she is, asleep. Lovely lady. Not. So here it is, the number one. The number one arena is Malenia, Blade of Mikola, Roots of the Hayed Tree. The final Scarlet area. Again, check out VaatiVidya's lore video on Malenia for the full details, but the reason this is the final one is Malenia was able to bloom into the Goddess of Rot 3 times before it completely consumes her. The first time was in the battle against Radahn, the second time is where I started my video just out there, and this would be the third. But no, this arena, like, even without Shadow of the Erdtree coming up, this arena would still be my favourite just because the aesthetics, this as a reminder at the end, and the fact that this is also to do with a storyline. An NPC's questline requires you beat Malenia and use this to get it done all properly, because this is where you turn the unalloyed gold needle into Mikola's needle if you want to cure yourself of the frenzied flame. But no, the fact that, look around, this place is full of honestly clear water, flowers, growth. Malenia's chair, I'm not going to roll through it, I have more respect than that for Malenia, Blade of Mikola, who very rarely knows defeat. Shout out to Let Me Solo Her. Heard you've been doing good stuff. Helped over 1,000 players beat this girl. Good on you, and nicely done. I've seen some of your tactics. You're insane. But no, the fact that the roots that you can see here all like growing through, and the fact that they're still growing down further still, like, I don't actually think that... Yeah, I don't actually have any of the underground unlocked right now on this playthrough, but... like, there is no area underneath the Hailing Tree here, that's for damn sure. But you'd think that, like, some of these roots would, like, have to connect somehow with Deep Root Depths, maybe, or something like that. I mean, probably not, it might be a bit of a stretch, but... And this, where Moog ripped the cocoon of Mikola out of the tree. And you can see where the tree kind of started to bear a resemblance to Mikola around the cocoon, with the face up there, and obviously in the start of Malenia's cutscene it's clearer, but this boss fight ring is one of the is actually probably the arena I have spent the most time in throughout my playthroughs, given the number of times I've had to challenge Malenia, Blade of Mikola. Malenia, Blade of Mikola. Malenia, Blade of Mikola. You know, she may sound like a broken record after a while, but she's not wrong. She is very difficult to defeat. A well-programmed boss, if I do say so. Honestly, I don't say that very often, but Malenia was a true challenge, like, a true challenge. And this arena is just absolutely gorgeous, like, so natural yet so unnatural at the same time. It's like it's naturally unnatural and at the same time unnaturally natural, if that makes any sense at all. But this is my number one. If there's any boss arenas you think I should have included, or anything, anywhere you're you feel differently, you've got your own opinions, you let me know in the comments below. Thank you so very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Adios!